Many of you always wonder, come to the Smoothie with Sharan session thinking we're going to be teaching a smoothie. This is a smoothie. I've been trying to stop myself from having it because I needed to be full glass, but I just couldn't stop myself. It's so yummy. So this time we decided to take 2 minutes to tell you about smoothies. Smoothies are basically delicious, healthy drinks that we drink every single morning. And all we do is take leaves, fresh leaves and frozen bananas and blend them. Okay. So this is mint with frozen bananas and it's yum. Okay. So everyone at Sharan, every day we have different smoothies, different leaves, and each leaf has something very, very important in nutrition to give you. So let me tell you about SHARAN. SHARAN is an acronym. It stands for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection to Animals and Nature. And the reason we are falling sick or having any health issues, whether it's physical or mental, is because of being disconnected from nature. This is founded by Dr. Nandita Shah. It's a social enterprise, and thousands of people have actually been able to reverse their diseases or prevent diseases simply through a change of diet. So what is Smoothie with Sharan? Smoothie with Sharan is an attempt to celebrate real heroes who are working either in the field of compassion or health or environment. And today our speaker is someone I personally listened to. I heard him in Amritsar. I had no idea he was coming. And when he started speaking, I was so hooked that 1.5 hours passed. And I didn't want him to stop, but because of time constraints, we had to stop. And I learned so many interesting things from him. And so the focus today is on our mental makeup, on our mental health, and how when we come in certain situations, which can actually, shake us, move us, and do so many things. But how did he manage all that? And what is a practice that we need to do? I pray and hope that we never come into any such situation where we have to, experience fear or anything. But it's always great to be prepared, isn't it? So without much ado, I would like to invite our guest for today. So Ramji, may I request you to please, yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure that all of us are going, like I was inspired, all of us are going to be really, really inspired today. So before we start, can we talk a little bit about, you're a civil engineer, and I believe that you were also working with the Twin Towers for some maintenance, or you were a part of their team, isn't it?
Yes. Thank you, Sharon, for inviting me. Yes, in those twin towers, like we had in the Noida twin towers, similar to that, they were twin towers in New York, but they were 110-story each, and the footprint of each tower was like 1 acre
Okay.
plus, so
Okay.
big. And yes, I had developed a structural integrity program, inspection program for the entire complex. They had hired me as a team leader, and I had gone through the entire facility, including even going on the scaffold up and down outside of the tower, 110 stories up and down. I had gone.
Okay,
So
all right. So you were well versed with the building. Did it
yeah.
ever feel that it could be a building that could actually fall or be destroyed? I mean,
Nobody could have ever imagined that the building will collapse like that the way it did. Because
right,
even when the plane hit, we thought it's an earthquake because building shook like this and that. But then
right.
it came to stand still. Then we knew it is not a earthquake, maybe a small plane hit it. So that's how we felt.
Okay. So do you think that the hitting of the plane was also engineered at the perfect place or something like that so that the structure would fall?
No, I don't think the pilot, because they had just taken the training. I believe they just did it the way they could do it. And actually, this is the reason our tower was hit first, and it was in 80s, like between 80 and 90th floor. And the second tower was hit between 50 and 60th floor.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
Okay. So, so can you tell us about that day? I mean, you were at the Twin Tower, and why were you there? And I mean,
I was working there as a project manager, and
okay.
usually I always come to work earlier. And
Okay.
on that day, I was going for a meeting, and I
Mhm.
prepared myself to go out of the door actually. But then I remembered I wanted to invite few other people in the meeting, so I
Mhm.
came back from the door and
Okay.
started writing the email, and that is when the plane hit the building.
Okay. So,
And
mhm. Yeah. So how, I mean, what, as you rightly said, that initially we thought it was an earthquake. So could you describe the events that happened?
yes, so I even screamed to the people, earthquake, earthquake, go under the table, go under the door. But then building came to stand still because it went this way, that way, but then it came to stand still. Then we knew it is not an earthquake, maybe an accident. Maybe the pilot had heart attack or something.
Uh-huh.
So then we started to come down. People were asking me, what should we do? What should we do? I said, let's start going down. So we started to go down. Then after some time, second plane came and hit the second building. And that is when people started to panic, because now they thought, and we thought, it's a starting of the third world war, because we could not imagine anybody coming in the United States and hitting those towers in the middle of New York. But then we started to go down, but the panic began because then people started to feel we want to get out of this building so that we can go to our family and be together, because nobody knew what was happening. And then other tower actually started collapsing first. And
Right.
our towers kept standing, but it was shaking very, very badly.
Mm-hmm.
Our floor was shaking. The plaster is falling from the ceiling, and the pipelines are rattling with each other. And that is where the more panic began. and uh, and then actually what happened, after some time we found out, because of the falling material from the tower that collapsed,
Mm-hmm.
our stairs, they got blocked because of the material falling. And then we had to go to the second stairs. And then in that stairs, after some time, lot of water started to come because the pipelines were broken. So water was coming with such a high speed. If we don't hold on to the handrail strongly, we will just flush down.
Right.
Holding the handrail, we are coming down. And then we found out even the second stairs broke from underneath because of the water pressure and other structural failures. And then in order to go to the last and the final stairs, we had to go through a dark, dark corridor.
Mm-hmm.
Water is falling on top of us, water underneath up to ankle high. Our clothes are all wet, and holding the wall in the dark, we are walking, and the wires are hanging on top of us, electrical wire. And bending ourselves down, just holding the wall, little by little we came out. And we had come out only about 4 or 5 minutes. We felt the ground is shaking underneath. And when we looked back, we saw our tower started to collapse. We
Okay.
were so close to the tower. If the tower had toppled in our direction, we would have been underneath it. But of course, tower came down straight like this. So
Right.
nothing happened to us, but we were filled with dust, and we are running away from it. So we were filled, our faces, our clothes were filled with the dust, but
Correct.
nothing happened. And there were many people with me, and they didn't want to leave me. We have a meditation center near Empire State Building,
Mm-hmm.
and I brought them over there, gave them the food, they did some meditation, and then we came home.
Okay.
And but next day, people started to call me left and right, and newspaper, television, etc.
Right. So how much time were you there in the tower after it was hit?
Actually, after it was 95 minutes, we were in the tower.
So
And we
that's about 1.5 hour you were.
1 hour 35 minutes.
Oh my God. So, I mean, just thinking about that is giving me goosebumps. What did you feel? What were your feelings that time?
See, actually, that is what the newspaper, television asked the same thing. They were saying, Ram, 95 minutes you were in the tower. And only 5 minutes before it collapsed, you came out.
Right.
So you were only 5 minutes away from death. So what was your feeling, the fear you must have felt of death?
Hmm.
When I looked into it, actually to my surprise, I did not have fear even for a 1 second. And that
Really?
is, yes, that is where my surprise was. I said, I am not a macho kind of person, somebody is fearless. I'm an ordinary person. So what must have happened that I did not have the fear?
Right.
And then I thought, because I had started helping other people, because of helping other people, I never thought of my own fear. It's
Oh,
our, it's our experience too. Anytime you are in trouble, but you find somebody is in a bigger trouble, you start to help that person, your own trouble just go away. So
correct.
that was my feeling.
So, how were you helping everyone?
See, that was another thing. How much could I help? Everybody is coming down the stairs, and I am also coming down the stairs. But the difference was everybody is trying to rush because they wanted to get out of the building and meet with the family. But I, at that time, was doing meditation for the last 27 years at that time.
Hmm.
And I thought, if I also become like anybody else, then what will be the difference between them and myself? So I have to help them. So I started to talk to the people and say everything should be okay, have faith in God. And they were also very much happy with me, and they asked me to pray for them, because in Christianity prayer has a lot of value.
Right.
So, but when the other tower collapsed, then everybody was in much more panic.
Panic. Right.
They were trembling with fear. And that is where, that whenever this sound will come, there were ladies, they will scream in fear. And I will look back and I will ask them to come in front of me. So I will step back and I will bring them in front of me, and I will tell them that have faith in God, everything will be okay. I am with you. So don't worry. We all will be coming out together. Now it is not a big deal. The 2 steps I was in front. Now I made myself in the back. But for them, it was a very big thing, because they saw everybody is rushing down. Nobody will care for them. Everybody is trying to save their own life. And
Right.
here, this person just is calling us in front of him, and he is stepping back to give us the space. So
Right.
if we will be in the trouble, that person is going to help me.
Right.
And actually, they were so happy with me, and they even called me, Ram, you are our angel.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
Hmm.
so then I laughed at that time. I said, wow, becoming an angel is very easy. Just go 2 steps behind and become an angel.
Angel.
So I
Right.
was laughing kind of.
Hmm.
But later on, I felt, I said, I did not think I'm an angel. It
Hmm.
is them who called me. So what they must have thought.
Hmm.
And then I started to feel, many times when we think of angels, we think of always big angels who have done some miraculous things.
Hmm.
But I am an ordinary person. Is it possible they could be the big angels and I can become a tiny angel? I can become like a particle angel, a
Yeah.
micro angel, and being a tiny angel, I can do tiny, small, good thing to help other people,
Right.
because people call angels are helpers of God.
Right.
So then I felt, okay, let me be becoming an angel. And in fact, that is where I felt becoming angel got simplified.
Right. Right.
So can I ask this audience?
Mm-hmm.
That, what the angels do, I will want to share that. What angels do when we say they are helpers of God, angels appear from nowhere in the time of need, when it's a big task, out of people's capacity.
Mm-hmm.
They appear from nowhere, then they help selflessly. They remain incognito. They don't want anybody to know about them. And the work is done. They fly away without asking anybody any favor. And with joy, they keep on flying with the wings of zeal and enthusiasm. So don't think of the big things. Become a tiny angel, a micro angel, a moving angel, mobile angel. Wherever you go, people say, oh, now we are free of worries. Everything will be taken care of. Because I used to see many times with me, even not in the World Trade Center, but other places, that whenever I will go, oh, Ram has come, now the things will be solved very quickly, because I am fast, because even wherever I am, I can cook, I can make all kind of things. I can make bread, I can make pizza, I can make kheer, halwa, pakoda, everything I can do. And I can do fast as well. So
Right.
people, anytime when people are in the need, so they call me as a 100,
Huh.
emergency. I say, once Ram is there, our problem will be solved. So
Okay.
angels solve people's problems. That's how we call them
Yeah.
helpers of God. So
So, what do you think? What is now most important question is, what got that stability, that confidence, that that state of mind where you were not thinking about yourself. I mean, you knew that anytime anything could happen, but you were still allowing everybody to come out. What got you into that state?
it is now when you're asking me, even because I was in the state of calmness, because the desire was to help other people. Because in my whole life, I have done somehow or another that when you help other people, somehow you get helped automatically from God, from nature, from circumstances. Somehow things keep on working for you. I
Right.
had experienced many times in my life. And at that time also, like as I said, because I was doing meditation for the last 27 years, there was this desire. Actually, what happened, even the smoke did not affect me so much,
Mhm.
even though it was not lot of smoke, but because when people open the doors, so then some smoke will come in and people's eyes were red and their faces, but some another, because I was breathing softly,
Right.
easily, so
Because
my
you were not
body
in
was able
panic.
to process it. So
Right.
my body was able to process it. And there was a time when somebody gave me the mask
Hmm.
to put it on the nose. I said give to somebody else. I did not take it,
Take it.
even though I
Wow.
had no clue how long we will be there. I could need it later on, but this was my thought. No, give it to somebody else. I
So
didn't
how
even
old
think
were
that.
you? How old were you at that time?
At that time, you can take out about 21 years from now, like 50 years old almost.
So 50 years old.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
at that time.
So people are asking, what meditation have you been doing for the past 48 years
Yeah.
now for you, right?
See,
So
see,
you started when you were very young, that means.
yeah, actually, I was only 21. I was just getting to 22, but I was still 21.
So you were still in college?
No, I had just finished
Just
my
finished college.
engineering, and I
Okay.
had taken the last exam, and I
Uh,
was waiting at my home.
mhm,
And like this institution called Brahma Kumaris,
mhm,
they came in our house because my auntie was in this thing.
mhm.
And so, because I saw their life very closely, because I saw they are from good families, they could lead very good life, but they have adopted this life and they are living very simple life, simple food, simple clothing. But I could see a genuine smile on their face, and
Mhm.
that impressed me. I said, they must be getting at least something. Otherwise, when the smile is fake, it cannot continue for a long time. But
Right.
because they were living with us, I could see them day in and day out that
Right.
they were having a genuine smile on their face. And that is what I wanted to become. And then what happened? I say, you know, I also want to become like you. And they said, you are going to become a deity. My gosh, I laughed because I had become spoiled one in my college. You know,
Huh.
like we are from Agarwal family. We did not even have onion garlic early days. But then we started with onion garlic, but other than nothing else. But I started smoking, drinking, non-vegetarian and all that. And I was also naughty boy. And so when they told me you can become a deity, I laughed. I said they are talking about becoming deity. If I improve on myself, if I can get rid of all my weaknesses, I will be very happy. And what
Right.
happened? They say you want to, why don't you try it for 6 months? I said, okay. So I got rid of all my bad habits within 1 week.
Just by listening, just
1 week.
attending Brahma Kumari.
Whilst I was taking the course,
Oh,
everybody was in shock. In fact, even my family people were there saying, oh, he's just having this crazy idea, but it will be only for a
for
short
short
time.
period. Right.
But I was able to see the process that if I can change this much in 1 week, then I can change this much too, this much too, this much too, this much too. Then I can also become a deity because
Right.
I understood deities are not who are flying in the sky and the rakshas or the devils.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
not in the ground patal. They are
Mm.
all on the earth. And
Right.
when you have a divine qualities, you are called a
Uh,
deity. And when you share with other people, you give to other people, देने वाले को दाता कहा जाता है.
Gee.
So they call deity. So I took it more like a practical term that
Mm.
I can become a tiny deity if I keep on giving and keep on giving. So that is where, what I find, when you are happy, when you are loving, then this love and happiness energy turn into your physical energy.
Mhm.
Because when you are happy, like people must have that experience, even if they sleep for 4 hours, but because they are happy, they will come out of the bed full of energy. But
True.
when we are sad and depressed, even if we sleep for 8 hours, still one person will be tired because of that. Or you could be totally tired and exhausted, but somebody asks you with great love, could you please could you please help me? It will take you only 2 hours. She said, oh my gosh, I'm totally tired. I don't have any energy in me. How can I help you? But you cannot disappoint that person because you love that person, and you end up doing the work and you put 2 hours energy, and in fact, person is smiling, you are smiling, but actually you are also not tired anymore. I'm
Right.
sure you have that experience.
Cool.
And that is where this is the love energy of the love.
Right. Right.
So you are able to do more work than required. So naturally, everybody will be happy when you're giving them extra. So you are become data. You are
Right.
becoming the giver, and the givers are called deities. So again, making yourself deity simplified. And what's
Correct.
that? Giving, giving, and giving, nothing taking. No give and take anymore. Now I
Right.
ask this question again. Can you have this thing from today on, giving, giving, and giving, and not taking? What it means, even if supposing somebody give me 10, I give 12. Giving something extra. If I have 100,000 rupees job, let me work for 110,000. Rather 1,10,000 instead of 60, 70,000. This is what people do at present time. If they are making 1 lakh, 1 lakh, they will work only for 70, 80,000. But this is where when you want to become a giver, you start to give that 10,000 worth of energy for the society. So you become a data giver, and data is called devta, deity. So this is again simplified becoming a deity.
Right. So beautifully expressed. So you must have had a wonderful life because you understood this at such an early age, no? Like, I mean, after a lot of practice and thought process and churning and everything, how did your life change from what normally people live?
See, some another, see, like, I can give you even further one event or one thing which happened. We were in the third year of engineering when, like, after dinner, we all go to a small, club room. There are newspapers, magazine. So at that time, there was a magazine called Life.
Mhm.
There was a predictions, like one of the this astrologist had made many prediction, like Kennedy's assassination.
Hmm.
She was famous for that, and many other predictions. And one of the prediction was, at the turn of the century, India will be most prosperous country in the world. And friends amongst ourselves, we were laughing. We say, how India is like 100 years backward compared to America. How India can become, become so advanced. And then they also said the woman will come in front. That also was not very much at that time. Nobody thought. We
Right.
thought that it's all the cause of the people's problem is the woman. And then even the men also get into trouble because of the women fighting with each other. So we
Right.
thought it can never happen. But then when I came to, then we just talked to each other, we laughed about it, then we forgot about it. So
Right.
when I heard from Brahma Kumaris the same concept, first of all, the sisters, they are in front. All the centers are run by the sisters, the ladies. And the second is India becoming prosperous means the heaven. Only in India people talk about Kalyug and Satyug. So I started to kind of feeling. Then I said to myself, now, because many times in our college, we used to get problem, then we bring it to the solution. But
Yes.
many times the solution is given to you, then you are asked to become backward. Then say
Oh,
prove.
right.
So when I was saying, what is the proof there will be heaven? Then I
Right.
said to myself, what is the proof there will not be heaven? Because
Right.
so many people talk about astrologists, philanthropists. Many times people say they do the digging and they find something more more valuable and more artful than even the present time. So many times people think there was civilization better than us. So there are so many proof of there was a heaven on earth. But simplify the definition of heaven.
Hmm.
That is what I was doing, but I took it upon myself as a journey,
Hmm.
journey to heaven. I am in Kalyug, journey to heaven. So
Heaven.
how that could be? That the deities have the divine qualities. And
Right.
I started to work on the divine quality means pure qualities. And
Right.
I was able to see, like, for example, we say truth. We all speak truth. We say truth is God, God is truth. We say,
Right.
but why we call truth as bitter? Why truth is bitter?
Hmm.
And that is what I felt. Why the truth is bitter? Because we put anger in that truth. We
Hmm.
put ego in that truth. We want to humiliate people speaking that truth.
Hmm.
Sometimes we speak truth even to take revenge. We
Correct.
will humiliate that person in front of 20 people. And you say, and you start to give lecture like. And so that means our delivery is impure. So it
Correct.
is called impure truth.
Truth.
But if I
Interesting.
say that if I want to speak truth, like if somebody have done made a mistake, I say not in front of 10 people. I
Right.
remain quiet. But then and I also don't lose love. I continue to give love,
Right.
continue to give respect. And when the person is in a good mood, in my own humble way, in
Right.
my appropriate words, with love, I will just share, I thought this way, I observed this thing, but it's up to you, I was just wanted to share my thoughts.
Right.
And then even that person rejected, I say, I have done my job. When the
Right.
right time will come, so they will realize that. And so this is how I added all those qualities in the truth
Mm.
that became pure truth. And that's where the divinity is. And then we can call it impure truth becoming a pure truth, and we
Pure
can
truth.
turn into deities.
How beautiful. How
That made me make effort more and more vigorously, because I could experience in my life.
correct. And as we just met Ram Prakashji at
Uh,
the Global Peace Summit now at
uh,
Mount
uh,
Abu,
yeah,
and over there they said that we are celebrating Azadi Ka Maha Amrit Utsav, where
yeah.
even Prime Minister is saying in the next 25 years we're going to see a new India.
Uh-huh.
So, and they've joined up with the Brahma Kumaris to take this into a new world. So, it is actually happening, isn't it?
Yes.
It
See,
is.
actually, very good thing I want to share. Modi ji said, we have to take care of our responsibility. We have to recognize our responsibilities and act accordingly.
Right.
But this is where the beautiful thing is. We have started one campaign called 7 billion acts of goodness. I will share a little bit about it, but the main thing is when we say act of goodness is, the definition of act of goodness is something that I do above and beyond my duty or obligation. Like I gave the example of, if I have 100,000 rupees job, I work for 110,000. For 10,000 become my act of goodness. So
Right.
if I have to do 10 things, let me do 12. 2 becomes my act of goodness. And
Right.
that's also triggered that, there was can I share that? That how that thing came about? 7
Yes,
billion acts
please.
of
Yes.
goodness.
Yes, please.
So there was a cover story in Time magazine, which is a famous magazine in New York. Happiness is contagious. Like they gave the example, flu spreads from one person to another person. So
Mm.
they also studied for 20 years on 5,000 people. And their findings were, when one person becomes happy, looking at that person, 5, 7 people become happy automatically. Then it spread to 25. Then it spread to 125, 150, and it keep on going, keep on going. So that means say exponential growth. And that
Correct.
is where the thought was, that happiness comes from doing something good. When you go out of your way to do something to help somebody, you feel so happy about it. Then the thought was, one terrorist with a negative action shakes up the whole world. Why not a good action do the same thing? I was challenging myself. Why goodness is so weak? Why goodness is so passive? Why? Because the people who are angry, the people who are violent, they are ready to kill each other. They are so big mouth, and everybody remain quiet. So the thought was, if they are aggressive, is there a possibility happiness and goodness can also be dynamic? So
Correct.
that is where the thought was, that they are talking about atomic explosion. They're talking about the Third World War, atomic explosion.
Yes,
Then I thought, why not explosion of goodness and happiness?
of
And
course.
then I thought, I started to compare with the atom bomb. See
Huh.
how the atom bomb really starts. Atomic explosion, atoms hit each other,
Hmm.
then they split, then they get connected with each other. But a tiny portion of the atom which is extra, it is an extra electron,
Hmm.
because it is unstable. So then it explodes. It explodes, then other atoms are hit and they are broken again.
Hmm.
So, and also it releases the energy, and the formula is E is equal to mc square. A tiny, tiny fraction of an mass convert into enormous, enormous energy. And that is where the definition of act of goodness come to. Like, for example, a tiny good action can expand exponentially. Like, I went 2 steps behind and they called me angel. So
Right.
I can become angel just by taking 2 steps behind, but in the right time. So
Yeah.
when things are done in the right time, right consciousness, selflessly, and incognito way, it has exponential impact.
True.
So
Wow.
that is where the definition of act of goodness came up. And what
Wow.
was that? And what was that? That it was that extra. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to give 100 rupees, you don't give 100, you give 101. They say 100 is my duty to give and take, but
Right.
1 rupee in the name of God is
Wow.
extra, extra. I
Right.
was even sharing with somebody, like extra really makes us popular. Anytime when we do something extra, like if we go buy vegetables, we all go, right? And the shopkeeper will give you the vegetable, but at the end he will give us runga chunga. They give you dhania mirchi. Have you
Yeah.
noticed
Yeah.
sometimes you are not looking at the vegetables, but you are looking at what extra dhania mirchi that person is giving? Is true or not? So that means, and if when they do that, you even go to your home and tell everybody, go to that shopkeeper, he will give you extra dhania mirchi.
Correct.
It's a human nature. Anytime when we do extra, we become popular. And that is where the act of goodness came up. And then the thought was, when the critical mass will reach, then there will be explosion. So what is that critical mass? At that time, there was a population was going to be 700 crore, 7 billion. So we thought, in the name of every soul in the world, if collectively we can perform 7 billion good actions, maybe that will trigger the chain reaction and there will be explosion of goodness and happiness. So
How
that
wonderful.
was the thing behind that.
Wow. How wonderful. And I'm sure all of us want to join this mission and be a part of this peaceful and happiness and love explosion. Isn't it, everyone? Everybody, I'm sure, wants to join this. But
Yeah.
I really remember this one thing you said, which I mean, I heard you about a month ago, but I still can't forget. You said, when I got out, I thought, did God save me? Did Baba save me? Can
Oh,
you say that?
I never want to say this thing. The reason is, if I will say God saved me, Baba saved, because I was doing meditation, I belong to God, I was saved. So what about others? Do they not belong to God? So
Yeah.
how can I say that because I belong to God, others also belong to God? I cannot use that justification.
Correct. I
And
know it really
huh?
stayed back with me that,
And other thing is, when we talk about that, we say, oh, because I remember God, and
mm,
that is why I did good karmas.
mm,
Because of good karmas, I was saved. Then I will ask, what about others? You think they did all bad karmas who
mm,
died? How
mm.
can I say that? So I never want to say that these are the justification of my survival. And that is where I made a promise to myself, silent promise, which I did not mention earlier, but for the last 1 year I am talking about. I said, I should also consider my life. What was my life is already over. I have died with my friends. And if I use the life which has been given to me, extension, if I don't use it for myself, but if I use it for the service to humanity, then even God can justify that why did you survive? So
Oh,
that is where I started to work. Wherever I go these days, I
mm,
try to say where I can help. How can I help? And at present time, the way our situation is,
mm,
everybody is in pain.
True.
Only person happy is the person you don't know.
Hmm.
Any person you go to in the beginning, they will look very happy and bubbling and all that. And
Hmm.
when you go a little bit close to them, they start to open up their pain and sorrow kind of things, you know. So
Right.
you can always help in your own little way,
Hmm.
becoming tiny, tiny angels
My
and becoming tiny, tiny deities. You know,
right.
a unit deity, a particle deity. You know, I am a unit of the whole universe. So I can
Right.
become a unit deity like that, you know.
How beautiful. How beautiful. So, how can we join this seven acts,
7
7 billion acts?
billion acts of goodness. You know,
Yeah.
there is a website, it is acts of goodness. Take out the 7 billion, acts of goodness dot org, and
Okay.
or you can go in the YouTube, and then you can put 7 billion acts of goodness. You will see many videos, etc. You can go to Google as well, but in the website acts of goodness, you will see the website. You can even register your good acts, and also if you want to become part of it, even you can, I can just quickly give my email. It's a ram dot single singal at gmail.com, or you can my phone number I can give in India. It's 7011802061. Anytime anybody will call, I will always give answer to. No matter how many people call me, I answer my email, I answer my phone, and you can all join. You can talk to each other, and then you can go into the website, and then you can join. And then so that's how I think that,
Yeah.
you know, it's
And
a time
yeah,
tsunami. We have to bring the tsunami of goodness and happiness in the world just by creating small waves of goodness and happiness.
yes, absolutely. And you have spoken about this in over 750 talks that you have done, isn't it?
No, actually, I have in my, we launched this program. Actually, I personally launched in the January 2009, but at that time people were making fun of me. So I did only few programs here and there. So people start to join more and more, but then it was in incubation. But actually, we started working on it again. 2013, we launched in America, and
Uh-huh.
2014 we launched in India, and then now it has gone to about 40 countries, and
Wow.
we have done almost like more like 40, 50,000 programs. I
Wow.
myself have gone to about 750 cities,
Okay.
and done about 3,500 programs
How
myself alone. So I
how wonderful.
keep on going wherever I get a school, colleges, companies, and in the societies, wherever I get chance. I don't care there are 5 people or 50 people, 500 people. I talk with the same strength. My voice does not slow down, because
Right.
I'm talking to the family people,
Right.
making the world of happiness.
Happiness. How wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about the Brahma Kumaris and how it helps you to reach this state where you're only thinking about others, you're only wanting to develop these qualities of the soul?
See, like, you know, what I really understood when I understood, because we all used to call Atma, Atma, but many times we used to call Meri Atma, my soul. And now this is one of the fact that not that I have a soul, but I am a soul. And this is my body. It really flipped me totally.
Right.
And then I understood that we say Paramatma. Actually, I never thought about it until I came to Brahma Kumaris, that Paramatma is Param Atma. So
Right.
God also is soul, but supreme. It opened up my eyes. Then I started, being an engineer, I was always looking at there should be a process. And
Correct.
in my own way, how I felt this was my process. I say, I am a soul, this is my body. As
Hmm.
my body carry my parents' DNA. So
Hmm.
I took it upon that courage. Can I call that I also, being a child of God, because I'm a soul, God is supreme soul, I
Hmm.
also carry God's DNA. I
Wow.
even wanted to say that laughingly. God is God, like in America, many times someone's name is Richard. They will give their child name Richard Jr. So is it possible I can call myself to be tiny, 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 miny God Jr.? Think about that,
Correct. Correct.
Chota sa Bhagwan.
Yeah.
So, like we call angel, na? So,
Yeah.
angel, tiny, tiny God. And that is where I understood that if I carry God's DNA, so that means love is my natural nature because God is ocean of love.
Yeah.
Happiness is my natural nature. And and then that is where I started to feel one of God's DNA is to give, to
Right.
give. And
Right.
दाता कहते हैं ना भगवान को. So
Hmm.
that means my also DNA is to give and give and give, and that is where the world came, deities and all that. But giving started to feel
Natural.
possible because I felt love generates energy in the body, happiness generates energy in the body. So that means I can do more work than the common people. So that
Correct.
means I can be on the giving end. So my change, my whole thing changed, that with God's power, which I acquire, I can move the whole world. Love can move the mountain, love can melt a stone. So I was very invigorated and I didn't want to look behind. So that
Right.
is why my world changed. So literally, even when I went to America, two thoughts came to my mind, in my mind. I have not come there to change myself. I have come to change them because I wanted to spread this world of God to America. And
Right.
second, I have come there to give because I'm child of God. My
Correct.
DNA is to give. I have not come there to take. So
Oh,
my continuous effort is to give and give, but giving out of energy of love, happiness, and that's where my energy comes actually.
so how old are you right now,
So
Ram?
right now I am just getting 71 years old.
Oh, wow, you
Very
look
soon.
very energetic. How is your health, physical
My,
health?
I sleep only 4 hours.
Uh-huh. Okay. And physically, you don't have any health issues?
I don't only recently they have started giving me D3, vitamin D3
Ah,
and
yes.
B12. They say
Right.
in India, some or
Yes.
another, they say B12 because we
Vitamin
are
D3.
vegetarian, we are always deficient. But only
Correct.
recently. That's the
Recent.
only thing I take
Oh
so
my God.
far.
So that's the so
Yeah.
do you attribute the strength of your physical health because of your mental well-being?
Not only I think the mental well-being, the mentally becoming healthy.
Yeah.
How, like, what I feel, like when I'm speaking the words from my mouth. Now that is just the body is only taking my order.
Right.
The muscles, they close and open according to my thought, that I want to say something nice to that person. And now through my mouth, that person got happiness. So my mouth also feels very happy. So the
Yeah.
mouth becomes very,
Happy.
healthy. Same thing, my face, how I know my mouth is happy, it gets lifted up. It gets
Correct.
an automatic lift,
Right.
lift. And even a child can tell what is a, happy face, what is a face with the angry or a sorrowful face. They
Right.
just have to show the mouth just lifted up. And but
Correct.
when somebody is in sorrow, no energy in the body, so the gravity pulls it down. So
Now,
that is why people say, why you are having a long face. So the face become longer because the gravity pulls. So
yeah.
our goodness, when you make other people happy, then your body also behave in a healthy way. And that is where, like for now, I'm talking to you now. I'm talking to so many of you. At night time, I may not even sleep fully. I will be so filled with joy thinking
Joy.
about that everybody listen to me, and not many people just even they are continuing listening after for 1 hour, So that is where the joy comes, mental health, when you talk about.
Absolutely, absolutely. How wonderful. Ramji, with your permission, can we end with affirmations that I learned from Sister Shivani?
Yes,
Yes, okay. So
yes.
can we all just I'm not going to unmute you all, but we can just say it together. Okay, so I'm a peaceful soul.
I'm a peaceful soul. Oh,
I'm a powerful soul.
I'm a powerful soul.
I'm a loveful soul.
I'm a loveful soul.
I'm a wise soul.
I'm a wise soul.
I'm a blissful soul.
I'm a blissful soul.
जो हुआ अच्छा हुआ,
जो हुआ अच्छा हुआ,
जो हो रहा है अच्छा हो रहा है,
जो हो रहा है अच्छा हो रहा है,
जो होगा अच्छा होगा.
जो होगा अच्छा होगा.
I'm smiling always.
I'm smiling always.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you everyone for attending.
you.
Om Shanti. Bye-bye.